So, folks, I wanted to talk about Thomas Massie, specifically Thomas Massie's primary race that he just lost. He lost it tonight. No other way of sugarcoating it. Pretty definitively lost it. And this is a really bad sign of things to come. I know that, for example, the Young Turks has been pinning a lot of hope that Thomas Massie was going to be able to pull out a victory here, and that there would be a golden era, a spectacular alliance between the sane Republicans and the conservative Democrats. They could come together, and the centrists would prevail and secure and save democracy for everybody. And it would go back to like some kind of status quo. That dream is dead, friends. That dream is dead and gone and buried because Donald Trump was really, really angry at Thomas Massie for helping to introduce the Epstein Transparency Act, which, worth noting, the Epstein survivors testified in Congress last week, and no new documents are coming out. There are still millions left to release, and the Department of Justice just isn't releasing them. And that is a violation of the law passed by Congress, signed by the president. All of those documents were supposed to be released. All of the redactions were supposed to be explained. And that's not happening. Despite Donald Trump pledging to drain the swamp, despite Donald Trump pledging to release all the files. And yet again, I have to point out, conservatives, he is lying to you. Donald Trump is lying to you. Everyone who works for him is covering for him right now because he has money, he has power, he has the ability to inflict harm on those who oppose him. And this case with Thomas Massie is an example of that, right? It is not only the death of some kind of red-brown alliance scenario manifesting, it's also the death of any kind of meaningful resistance within the Trump world managing to manifest. This is the Republican Party going all in on Donald Trump, on destroying democracy as a functional system. Wait, from what I've read of the release docs, there's enough to charge people. Honestly, do we need the rest of the files to do something? We don't need the rest of the files to do something, but I bring up the rest of the files because legally they're supposed to be released. They were supposed to be released like months ago. They were supposed to be released last year. And the fact that we have what is currently public is great, but it really makes me wonder, what else are they holding back? Who else is being implicated in this, who is so important that all the various powers that be at the Department of Justice are risking prosecution to withhold them all?
There's basically no Republican Party anymore. It's just the Trump Party.
I mean, that is the case. Like, the Republican Party is dead. It's dead and gone. There are no Republicans anymore. It's just, are you MAGA? I mean, like, there is a certain sadness to this, right? But there's also freedom. There is a freedom in recognizing that Republicans are no more, that there is only MAGA, that there is only fascism. And the fact that this fascism has hung its hat entirely on Donald Trump, I think is, yet again, a blessing. Because Donald Trump is old. He is very clearly in severe mental decline. He can certainly do a lot of damage on his way out, but there is no replacement for Donald Trump. Nothing. Like, J.D. Vance cannot replace Trump. Marco Rubio cannot replace Trump. There is no other cult leader waiting in the wings to take over here. And also, I want to say that it is a good thing that Thomas Massie lost, because I think it indicates that Thomas Massie's Hail Mary attempt to court donors and court voters failed. And I want to take a quick look at the rhetoric he employed here to try and get voters on his side. a message that failed to sway a majority of Republicans, even in a plus 18 Republican district. Let's take a look at just one of his campaign ads.
Eddie Galrine is bought and paid for by the LGBTQ mafia. Far-left trans activist billionaire Paul Singer is bringing his trans madness to Kentucky. Singer is spending millions to remove Massie. The gay mafia will own woke Eddie.
And over a period of time, I and my team became quite friendly with legacy gay rights groups, including hardcore Democrats.
Paul Singer is a major pro-gay, pro-trans activist who works with far-left hardcore Democrats.
And I became very interested in being a funder of gay rights groups.
Galrine doesn't share our Kentucky values. He is with the weirdos. And if Galrine wins, the weirdos take over. On May 19th, say no to woke Eddie Galrine and his billionaire club of LGBTQ weirdos. Re-elect Thomas Massie for Kentucky, for America.
Like, this message failed. It failed to win Massie a critical mass of support. And I think that is this real? Yes. This is, again...
Store Freedom PAC is a project of Hold the Line PAC. Hold the Line PAC is responsible for the contents of this advertisement.
You know, it's paid for by multiple PACs. So, all of that being said, you know, I think it goes to show that Republicans right now, this is not a rhetorical move that actually brings them out, that they actually care about, because they care more about, you know, doing whatever the dear leader says. You know, they've abandoned independent thinking and are instead just doing whatever Donald Trump tells them to do, even if what he tells them to do is half-assed. You know, it's a half-assed Truth Social post. Who cares? It's what he wants. Give the big orange boy what he wants. It's wild.
Massie's loss proves the GOP base is a cult and should be ignored. Dems need to wake up and stop coddling those people and just do good shit.
It's true. Like, there's no point in bending over to try and form an alliance with Thomas Massie, who's arguably one of the most anti-Semitic and virulent bigots in Congress, right? And I think it's worth noting that that bigotry did not serve him here. That there is no meaningful alliance to be built here on issues because, frankly, folks in MAGA don't care about issues. They care about vibes. They care about feelings. They care about, you know, does this policy make me feel like the economy is good? Then the economy is good. Does this make me feel like I have more money in my bank account? Then I might as well have more money in my bank account. Does this make me feel politically powerful? Then, hey, I am politically powerful. Like, that's what they care about. They don't care about the actual effects. They don't care if they're getting, like, fucked by billionaires every single day, as long as they feel like they're the ones in charge of being fucked, you know?
Gay Mafia, let's go. We got Tumblr Tommy, pronoun Pauline, and Italian Louie.
Yep, got all of them. The gay mafia coming to town. Hey, this is a really nice brunch establishment you got here. Be a shame if something happened to it. I don't know what happened to me. What I don't know what came over me there. God. Everything is stupid right now. So, what I have to say here is also not great news for Democrats, right? Because this district is traditionally a plus 18 Republican district. And we've been seeing in special elections over the past year that, you know, like, Democrats have in some cases been swinging districts by 15, 16, in some cases 30 points, which is quite substantial. That is a swing where if it affected this district to the maximum, it could swing Democrat. But I don't know if a standard Democrat can facilitate a massive swing in the general election like that here, specifically in this particular district. And I say that because we've got a candidate running for the Democrats who came out of the primary tonight in Kentucky's 4th congressional district, named Melissa Strange. And despite having a comic book character name, she's I'm just going to quote this here, supply chain director for a global nutrition and agribusiness company. And apparently her platform is restoring government trust, closing the wealth gap, and promoting bodily autonomy. Now, it could be that this is enough in an election year where abortion rights and voting rights are on the line in Kentucky. It really depends on how many people turn out to vote, how many people are galvanized by the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, how many people are, motivated to try and turn things around in Congress. When I think of who is poised to do very well in rural conservative areas, my thoughts do not immediately gravitate towards international, agribusiness and nutrition corporations. I don't think that someone running on a milquetoast Democrat platform in a race like this is going to do particularly well, or at least not as well as one could do on a platform that centers workers and working class people. I'd like to believe that for as divorced from reality as many MAGA folks are, that fundamentally they care about whether or not their children can go to the hospital. That fundamentally they care about whether or not their children can go to good schools. That fundamentally they care about whether or not, their retirement is going to be secure. Their social security is going to pay out. Their pensions aren't going to be gambled away on betting markets and stock trades. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think right now, where we're at, especially as the economy continues to nosedive because of all the shenanigans happening between Donald Trump and Iran. I mean, I can't shake off the story we covered yesterday about China selling off U.S. Treasury bonds. They're one of the largest holders of them in the world, and that is a despairingly bad sign for the U.S. economy. So, all of that being said, I hope that there are some people who are still interested in the well-being of themselves, their families, etc., that they're willing to support common sense, financially sound policies that help them. These are things, by the way, that Republicans would never in a million years offer them on their own. So, all of that being said, I do want to take a look at one last element that I think could really affect this, which is we have right now, and I did mention this already, but we have right now a massive groundswell in political activation from the African American community and from Democrats writ large in this country due to the gutting of the VRA. A lot of people, they might not remember or understand what the VRA was, how big a deal it was, how it was effectively the death blow to Jim Crow laws in this country, how it was something that was fought hard for by Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement. We are now standing at a precipice where that's no longer around, where people are going to be systematically disenfranchised based on the color of their skin. We covered a Michael Knowles video a few days ago where Michael Knowles was like, well, all these people got elected without the Voting Rights Act, and showed like a list of African Americans who served in Congress without mentioning the fact that laws passed to disenfranchise black people, the black codes, the Jim Crow laws, etc. When they went into effect, there was a period of about 28 years between 1901 and 1929 where not a single black person served in Congress because of the rank and blatant disenfranchisement of African Americans. And this is a huge deal across the entirety of the South. And I do think that it is worth us taking a look here at the at the All Roads Lead to the South rally to organize against the gutting of the VRA. And I wanted to take a look here specifically at this particular moment in the rally minutes. It was a fairly significant rally.
Till we win. God bless you.
Yes, sir.
Keep the faith and keep looking up.
Come on, y'all show some love for Senator Warnock. Now listen, he talked about death, so we got to talk about the resurrection, because we recognize that the resurrection is here. Why? Because the power is here. Why? Because the people are here. Y'all make some noise. Now, amplifying the voices of the people, I got 3 letters, y'all, that have been changing the game. Now, we in Alabama, lean in, but all the way from New York, make some noise for AOC. How's it going, Montgomery? Let me fix all these microphones here. There's a lot of them. I love you too. One second. How are we all doing today? I'm so grateful to be here in this moment and in this fight alongside each and every one of you, shoulder to shoulder, as we fight to continue the legacy and expand upon that of Montgomery, Alabama. I was with Senator Warnock last Sunday, and we were at Ebenezer Church in Atlanta. And after his beautiful sermon, Senator Warnock took me to the original Ebenezer that Martin...
It's not a black issue, it's a leftist issue. That's, that's funny. That's exactly what the post-Confederate legislators in the South said. It's so crazy how you neo-Confederates continue to repackage it all in the same way. It's sad, too. Get some new tricks.
Luther King Jr. had preached at and had organized in. And we sat inside that sanctuary. And what had struck me was how small it was. And Senator Warnock turned to me and he said, this sanctuary only fit 300 people. And he said, Congresswoman, can you believe that this sanctuary of just 300 people changed the world? Those 300 congregants at Ebenezer Baptist Church turned into those congregants at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church right behind us here today. And from Dr. King's work right here on Dexter Avenue, we saw the launch of the Montgomery bus boycotts. And it was right here in Montgomery where we saw some of the most cruel repression in the history of America, where we also saw the highest angels of American history rise to create our democracy. Because it wasn't until the Voting Rights Act of it wasn't until the Voting Rights Act that was passed that we even had a democracy in this country. There was no democracy in America until every human being born here was guaranteed and protected the right to vote. But we know what happened.
I gotta be honest here, guys. She gonna run. She's gonna fucking run. She's testing some rhetoric here, and it is absolutely on point.
After those bus boycotts, and we know what happened on the trail to make sure that we got that legislation passed, because with every expansion, there is an attempt at regression. This Supreme Court, under Justice Roberts, is part of that long history of regression and repression in America. But they do not triumph, Montgomery. You triumph, Montgomery. And I am here today because I want to make sure that we all understand that Montgomery is not alone, that you all are not alone. And for all of those watching today, when they ask, what do we do in this moment? I feel helpless. What action can I take? It is time for the North to pull up to the South. It is time for New York to pull up to Alabama. It is time for all of us to come to Georgia, to Louisiana, to Tennessee, to Mississippi, and let them know exactly what they have uncorked with this injustice. They think they can draw us out of power. They do not know the sleeping giant that they just awakened. Because it is not a coincidence, and our whole country must understand that it was not until voting rights were ratified in this country that we got the Great Society.
Look, all I'm going to say here is that, one, she's cooking. Two, the message of the North will not abandon you, Southern comrades. I think that that's a particularly powerful one. You know, I think it is a message of solidarity. I think it is one that can absolutely work. I think it is a bridge that can, in fact, overcome essentially any kind of centrist opposition within the Democratic Party. The question would become whether or not it is sufficient to rally enough support in order to defeat even Republicans in deep red areas of the country. And I have to be honest, with the combined with the activation of the African American base, if we can actually maintain a level of solidarity aligned with that level of activation across every state in the country, there is a very decent chance that regardless of whatever amount of gerrymandering is pushed by the Trump administration, someone like AOC running would absolutely demolish whatever institutional barriers the Trump administration attempts to put up at a last minute. I think that that's really where we're at, you know, that there is an unprecedented number of folks, specifically like younger Black folks, who may have been politically disengaged, who are going to be re-engaged by like elders in the Black community, by people who lived through the civil rights movement in the 1960s and 50s, who now see the need to be able to do it again. And those people are going to be spurred to action. They're going to be spurred to do their own marches, like this one. This was organized by the NAACP to reenact the marches of the civil rights era. We are going to see an army of electoral fighters marching across every major city in the South, across every road throughout the entirety of the old Confederacy, and we will be marching to put an end to this attempt to resurrect the Confederacy. We need to finish the work of Reconstruction, and that is, in fact, a promise that we all need to hang our hats on. And I think that this messaging, bridging the gap, making it clear that Southern states, Southern Democrats, Southern African Americans are not alone, I think it's deeply, deeply important, especially as the John Roberts Court, seeking to infuse Donald Trump with the utmost power through unitary executive theory to make him a dictator in a democracy, I think it is of the utmost importance that right here, right now, we squash this attempt to destroy the democracy we fought so hard to have.
Because when Black Americans have the right to vote and that vote is protected, our schools get funded. When voting rights are protected, healthcare gets expanded. When voting rights are protected, our country moves forward. In Montgomery, that's what they're actually afraid of.
Where is the Confederacy's phylactery located? It must be in one of those statues of, Confederate generals that got all pearl clutchy about. Melt them down until we find that phylactery, you know? Make something more beautiful out of the resulting metal.
They're afraid of us coming together. They're afraid of us protecting one another. Alabama is the crucible. Georgia is the crucible. Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi is the crucible. So if you are not from here, it is time to pull up. Because what they thought was the final blow is actually just the opening silo. And with that, I want to introduce to you all my sister from Boston, Massachusetts.
The heritage of what is greatest in our country. Sister.
All right, folks, joining us right.
I love Roland Martin. Go check out his work, by the way. Excellent job broadcasting this to folks around the country. Here's a link to the full stream if you want to see the full slate of speakers. Highly recommend. Good info, good rally. Go check it out. Of course, here's the link in all the chats. But all of this being said, the defeat of Thomas Massie ends any illusion about a return to like some kind of old world where sane Republicans and sane Democrats all join hands and sing Kumbaya and bring us back to the era of 1990s neoliberalism. That dream is dead. That idea is dead. Republicans killed it. And where this is going to go from here on out is where I've been saying it's going to go. Right now, we are in an electoral street fight. It is a knockdown, drag-out, knuckle-dusting fight. And folks like Chuck Schumer, who's out there telling folks how aroused everyone is.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Are not equipped for the moment. They are not willing to fight. They are not willing to embrace the pro-working class policies that are necessary in order to win a conflict such as this within the current political paradigm. Instead, we need someone who actually has the bona fides, who actually has the strength of character, who actually has the motive that is pure of corporate money, a fighter who is willing to go up against the establishment, who has a proven record going up against the establishment, who has spent years building up political capital to use for such a moment in a time of crisis. And that person really boils down to a list of one. It's AOC. AOC. And I know that Republicans are going to fucking hate that, but too bad. And I think that that's kind of where we're at. There's been a lot of fucking around by the MAGA movement, up to and including attempting an insurrection, up to and including doing some of the most corrupt shit any political movement has ever done in the history of America. And that's saying quite a bit. We are now going to enter the finding out period. So, that being said, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words really help in the algorithm. And also, join your local Dems. Now is the time to get involved politically. It is not enough to know the correct political positions. It is not enough to have, the most virtuous political positions. It is not enough. What is required at this moment in time is action. What is required is joining political orgs, coming into community with other people, and organizing. Organize to better your community, organize to protect your community from ICE agents coming in with masks and guns to arrest you and fellow citizens, or kill fellow citizens, as it were. You can protect your community from AI data centers, siphoning up all of the water in your community and running up your electrical bills to unimaginable heights. You can protect your community from predatory corporate practices targeting small-town America. You can create zoning laws to protect different areas of your city against the abuses of corporate buyouts of private property. You can do a lot on the local level, but it takes you getting involved. If you want to get money out of politics from billionaires and corporations, you can help start pushing Montana Plan initiatives all across your local area and push it into state-level politics. It is vitally important to get involved because we are not, contrary to popular belief, fucked. We are not doomed. We are not without agency. We are not without options. We are, in fact, positioned at a unique point in history, a unique time at which we are all being asked right now, what would you do if you were living through a second American apartheid? Would you show up? Would you act? And I hope that your answer is yes. If you need help getting involved with your local Dems or your local DSA, join our Discord, reach out to GamerG for help with DSA, reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. And if you don't want to join Discord, you can join riverboat.gg, and you can usually find one or both of them over there. Very much appreciate Benzo Scarlet. Thank you very much. And all of that being said, folks, also check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. Check it out. It is comfortable, sexy lingerie. Go check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and switchy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.